Hey, what's up? It's Patrick. It's Rose via Fire. And I pray this message reaches who it needs to reach. So let's talk about I'm not going to heaven because I'm perfect. That's not the reason why. You know what I'm saying? Um, Bruh, the reason why I'm going to heaven is because I accepted God's calling over my life. I'm not going to heaven because I'm perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, people is not going to heaven because they are perfect. People is going to heaven for because they never ran from God's calling over their life. You know what I'm saying? They never ran from God's purpose over their life. You know what I'm saying? They sacrificed their worldly self. You know what I'm saying? They basically, let me put it in these words. They left their worldly lifestyle to follow God, bruh. They basically gave up everything to follow God, bruh. You know what I'm saying? People is not going to heaven because they are perfect. And I just also wanted to do this message to say that I'm not going to heaven because I'm perfect. That's not the reason why, bro. Because I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? I struggle with all different types of things. I sin just like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? I'm human just like everybody else. So being perfect is definitely not the reason why I'm going to heaven, bro. I'm going to heaven because I didn't run from God's calling over my life. You know what I'm saying? When God said, you know, I want you to come into my kingdom and I want you to advance my kingdom and I want you to use your talents for my kingdom. And when he said all these things to me, I didn't run from, you know what I'm saying? I did not run from God, bro. I did not run from God. So, I'm going to heaven is because I know how to obey God's voice. I know how to you know, just listen to what God is saying and just apply it to my life. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to heaven because I'm honest. You know, I try to be honest about my life, you know. I try to put the truth out there, even though sometimes it's not easy to just, you know, be honest about all these different things. You know what I'm saying? It's much easier to lie. But me personally, I'd rather just keep it real, man. I'd rather just be honest. You know, so that's another reason I'm honest. That's another reason why I'm going to heaven, bro. I'm going to heaven is because I work for God's kingdom. I know how to work hard for God's kingdom and to advance God's kingdom. When you see all these people out here, bro, they are working hard to advance the world. They are working hard to advance all these different things. They are working hard to advance family. They are working hard to advance friends. But what if that has nothing to do with God's kingdom? Just have you ever thought about that? You know what I'm saying? You working hard to advance your family, to get your family out the hood, to get your family a better place, you know what I'm saying? To get your parents a better home. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, right? I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is, what about God though? What did you build for God? What did you accomplish for God? See, people need to understand the difference between just living life and just living like just basically doing normal things that everybody else has to do and living a worldly lifestyle as well. Those two things combined, living a regular life that everybody's supposed to do, you know what I'm saying? And also living a worldly lifestyle, they need to understand how to separate that from God's kingdom, because God's kingdom is spiritual. God's kingdom is totally different from you just being a good person and, you know, going, taking care of this and taking care of that. You know, I'm not saying these things are bad to do, but what I'm saying is they are not connected to God's kingdom. Like, God's kingdom is different. Like, this is what people need to understand, bro. God's kingdom is spiritual because God is a spirit. So if you don't do no spiritual things in your life, if you don't advance God's kingdom spiritually, then how you going to heaven? You just basically living a simple, regular life. God called you to do more than just live a regular, simple life. And this is where people keep getting it wrong, bro. People keep not understanding this, bro. It's like people just cannot grasp this, bro. Like, living a regular, normal life, and, you know, I took care of my kids, I took care of my family. Yeah, everybody else did the same thing, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Majority of other people did the same thing, but where is the man who advanced God's kingdom? Where is the man who accepted God's calling over their life? Where is the woman who advanced God's kingdom? Where is the woman who accepted God's calling over their life? Where is the man who saved souls from hell? Where is that man who saved souls from hell? Where is that woman who saved souls from hell? People worried about, oh, you know, my family, I gotta help my family out, you know, I gotta help my homies out and this and that. Okay, but what about saving souls from hell? Do you see what I'm saying? There's a very clear difference between you just helping your homies out and helping family out and doing all these things versus God's will, which is God's will is basically like saving souls from hell. This stuff is serious. Like, saving souls from hell is way more serious than all these things that people be worried about down here, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's wrong to just do the normal things in life and do the regular things in life. I'm not saying it's wrong to want to help, like, to basically want to help the right people in your life who helped you. I'm not saying it's wrong, but what I'm saying is people are forgetting about saving souls from hell. People are forgetting about God's will. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to say it again, bro. I'm not going to heaven because I'm perfect. That's not the reason why. I'm going to heaven because of, like, I'm honest. I'm saving souls from hell. I accepted God's calling over my life. I didn't run from God's calling. You know what I'm saying? It's all different types of things, man. Like, I got baptized in the name of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And so many more things, bruh. I completed fasts. I completed 40-day fasts. You know, I completed so many achievements for God. I'm talking about spiritual achievements. I'm not even talking about normal achievements or worldly achievements, because I already gave y'all the difference between the normal and the worldly. So I'm talking about spiritual. I completed a lot of spiritual achievements for God, bro. So many spiritual achievements. So I'm not going to heaven because I'm perfect, bro. Because I'm not perfect, bro. That's not the reason why. Being perfect is not the reason why I'm going to heaven, bro. That's not the reason why. And even though that's not the reason why I'm going to heaven, right? That's also the reason why, bro, nobody's perfect, bro. No human being is perfect. So nobody's going to heaven because they perfect, bro. The only perfect person was Jesus Christ. That's it. So nobody's going to heaven because they are perfect. That's not possible, bro. For a human being, bro, that's not possible. So everybody who goes to heaven, they didn't go to heaven because they was perfect. That's not the reason why they made it to heaven, bro. That's not the reason why these people are in heaven, bro. Perfection is not the reason why, bro. The reason why is because they took God's calling over their life serious. They fully committed their entire life. They fully gave 100% to God, bro. I'm not talking about giving God 25%, 50%. These people gave 100% to God, and they committed to the call of God on their life. That's why these people in heaven, for real. These people is not in heaven because they was perfect. That's not the reason why, bro. And I just wanted to say that, and I feel like this message could encourage somebody out there. But that's just basically all I wanted to say, man. Peace.